The top 1% of AI power users focus on removing friction from their workflows. And here's why. Most of you are probably buried in content, client work, or business tasks already, which means things like lead magnets, resources, pitch decks, and presentations, everything else you have to do keeps getting pushed off. And that's exactly why tools like AiPPT.com matter, because you can take an idea, a document, or even a link and turn it into a polished presentation or assets ready to share in seconds. So in this video, we're going to break down 3 things. First, I'm going to show you how to get out of content burnout by using AiPPT.com as a faster way to create decks, resources, and assets without starting from scratch. Second, we're going to look at the most useful and underrated ways to use it, from turning notes into slides to importing web pages, documents, and research into something polished and ready to use. Third, I'll build a real deck from scratch so you can see exactly how this workflow could fit into your own business, brand, or content system. So make sure to head down to the link in the description and the pinned comments. Check out AiPPT.com. You can try it out for free and you can follow along with the video. You'll also find a special discount code for my audience down there. Don't forget to use that. So once you log into AiPPT.com, this is the main workspace that you're going to see. Here in the center, you have your prompt input box where you can start working with AiPPT.com to build your presentations or your assets. And you have some settings here to customize. Here at the top, we have the classic setting currently selected, which means it's going to create classic 16:9 slide presentations for us. Next to that, we have the flow setting. This is going to auto format slides and sort of grow out with our ideas. Then we have this agent setting here, which is end-to-end slides created for you from a single prompt. Next to that, we have this visual setting, which is going to create image-led slides for visual storytelling. Really good for content creation. Now down here, we have some more settings. We can click here and we can see the different models that we can use to create our slides. If we scroll through this list, you'll see that they have some of the top models from Gemini to OpenAI and even DeepSeek. Next to that, we have this paperclip icon, which is a universal icon for attaching documents. And here it says you can import up to 5 files in the following formats: PDF, docs, or text. Below this, we have the page settings. So you can create up to 3 to 6 pages, so something brief, 5 to 10, and then you can create up to 30 to 40 pages of content, meaning you can create in-depth and valuable assets with a lot of information inside of them. Next to the pages, we have the language setting. So there's no issues if you need to create this in different languages. If we scroll through here, you'll see all the different languages that you can use. Next to the language setting, you have the text. So this is important if you want to make something concise and short. You can also make something medium, so a little bit more context, and then detailed, something where it really dives into the topic. You have these tone settings here, which is going to be helpful for a lot of you that don't want to sound the same as everybody else. Play around with these tones until you find one that fits best for the use case. If we scroll through here, you'll see that they have persuasive, formal, professional, instructive, narrative, a lot of different tones to experiment with. Next to the tone, we have the audience setting. Now, all these settings are important because the more you dial this in, the better the outputs will be. So here you can select your audience. So you can do general, business, investor, teacher, student, supervisor, interviewer, employee, colleague, all these different audiences that you can create this content for. And below here, we have the scenario setting, which will fine tune this even more, preparing the project or whatever you're working on for these scenarios, like conference procedures, annual plans, financial reports, project plans, and blogs. And then below here, we have the different settings for where we can pull our information from. So we can pull it from files, we can pull it from text, we can pull it from our Google Drive, from a URL, or from scratch. And then down here, you have a bunch of different themes that you can scroll through. You can actually filter by different topics here, like marketing, education, technology, medical, pitch, energy. You could always come through here, find a template for a specific use case, and just reuse that template. But today we're going to dive into how to really use AiPPT for different powerful use cases. Now over here to the left, we have the main menu. You have My Works, so you can look at the projects you've been working on in the past. You have the agent, you have AI images and templates. Let's click on agent. Now we are inside of AiPPT's custom built AI agent that's going to help you turn your ideas into slides. Now, most people think of PPT slides and they are thinking within a box of, oh, this is just a presentation that I can use. But all this content can be used creatively in many different ways. Like an AI PowerPoint presentation could also be used as posts on LinkedIn or carousels on Instagram. There's lots of different ways to approach this, and that's what I want you guys to do. Think outside of the box. Think outside of the box anytime you're using AI tools to generate content, no matter what it is. So let me give you guys an example of what I'm talking about when I say get creative. For example, this prompt here, it says efficient memory methods. Design a learning courseware about efficient memory methods for students. Let's click on this and we'll see here that it's got the prompt now at the bottom. And let's say you were somebody that was creating content about productivity and learning methods for studying, right? Let's say this prompt here aligns with your type of content. So for now, let's just use this example. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click enter. Here in the center, we can see the actions that the tool is taking. We can see that it's using deep thinking. It's giving us the mission progress. So it's gathering information. It's planning the slide outline and the structure for the 10 pages. It's generating the visuals. It's going to insert slides, and it's going to create content pages with data and refine those visuals. So you can see the rest of the actions it's taking. It looks like it's doing parallel research. If we click here, you can see the actual search results that it's using to reference for this project. Then if we drag this over here on the left, we can see the agent continuing to think. Now it's creating an outline for the 10-page course, and let's give it a second. So now here on the right, we can see the preview of the content that it's building out. So we have the first slide here. It says, unlock your brain's superpower, efficient memory methods for smarter learning. And up here, you can see it says code and preview. We're currently on preview mode, but if you click code, you can see the code that it used to build it. If you come over here, you can copy this code and you can use it in some other projects. So now it's generating the rest of the pages. And once that's finished, we'll check it out. I actually want to change up the aesthetic a little bit. So I'm going to tell it change up the aesthetic of the slides. So I'm going to let it work on that, and then we will see how this comes out. The agent really went to work, and after just a couple moments, we have our finished slides. If we look over here to the left in the chat, we can see everything that the agent did. We can see that it planned the outline once it started creating the slides. It's got each of the pages here. So the first one here, it says memory mastery, unlock your brain superpower. That would be this slide. If we scroll down, you'll see the second one is why do we forget the brain drain problem? If we scroll down, you'll see the second one is why do we forget the brain drain problem? The third one here should be the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. And then the fourth one should be the science of spaced review, your golden schedule. And then part 6 is associative memory in action. Part 7, the memory method 2. Got part 8 here, part 9. And part 10. So 10, the last slide here, which is the 7-day memory challenge. If we scroll down in the chat, we can see that I responded with the outline looked great. And to move on with the process, the agent got back on the mission, checked off the outline section here, and started on the visual assets for the covers and key pages. Now, if we click here on view all, you have the prompt here and the visuals. And here's where we can start getting creative. For example, this visual here, you could take this visual alone and use it to make a post. So you could put these visuals together and use them as a carousel or use them as static posts for other platforms. Once it had the visuals and the outline of the deck done, it went in there and started placing the visuals into the deck. And if we scroll through here, you'll see exactly what it did for each of the pages that it created, all 10. So let's go down to the bottom and let's see what it did here on the final step. Once the agent finished, it gave us a breakdown of the course resources that it generated, and it gave us the page and the highlights of each page. It also gave us the design highlights. And here at the bottom, it says, feel free to ask me to tweak any page. For example, swap colors, add more practices, adjust the data, or change the layout. So if you wanted to make any changes to this, you could always tell it here in the chat, like I did before, to change up the aesthetic, change the colors, change the visuals. You can fine tune it by customizing any of the information on these slides. If I click here on this voice input option, I can just start talking and it will start transcribing everything I say. So I don't even need to use my hands, removing more friction from the workflow. You can also add files like a Word, a PDF, or a PowerPoint. And if you wanted to download this, you just come over here to the top right, click on download. And here it's going to give you the option to download it as a PowerPoint, a PDF, a PNG, an HTML file. You can export all the pages or just custom pages. You can change the resolution of your export, the file settings, so the name of the file. And then over here on the left, you can see a breakdown of your settings. So I'm just going to come down here and click on export. And now down here at the bottom, we can see that it's rendering our slides. I'm going to click here on the play option. Here's a smart way to use this. If you have a script written out or a chunk of text, a chunk of data, you can upload it as a file. And then the text in that file or the script will match the text in your slides. So when you're making a video, you could layer this on top of you or below you as you speak about the topic. You could just use this as the visuals as you record your voice over it, or you could use this as B-roll to drive home a point. This slide here, for example, you could use as just a static post on Substack, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, also helping drive home the point in your text-based posts. For example, you could take each of these slides and make them talking points for the next 10 videos that you have, and just have them above your head as you speak about the information on the slide. And because you can export this in different formats, you could take the same exact deck that you're talking about in the video and use it as a freebie or a lead magnet to send to your audience. Now we're back on the main dashboard. You can also generate images over here on the left. If we click here on AI images, you can see that in the center here, you can just type in a prompt. Down here, you have the models that you can use, and you have the number of images, the aspect ratio, and the style. If you click here on style, there are a bunch of different styles you can pick from. For example, if I click photography, and then if I scroll down, you'll see that there are example prompts that you can use. If I come over here to the right, I click copy, take it over here, paste that here, click on generate. And as you can see here, it'll generate an image for you that you can use inside of your deck or with the project that you're working on. You also have this section here that's called templates. You'll see that you have the option to scroll through a bunch of different templates built for different subjects like technology, education, and you can even filter by free templates, education templates, and you can just click on one of these to download them. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and just know that the links to AiPPT are going to be down in the description and the pinned comments. Make sure to go down there, sign up for your free account. You'll also find a special discount code for my audience down there. Don't forget to use that and get creative with your outputs. For those new here, I'm the avatar of John Kelly, one of the minds behind Digital Creator AI. We built this channel from scratch to over 110K, and we're helping creators and solopreneurs master the best AI tools, workflows, and strategies. So if that sounds like you, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications. Also, don't forget, if you want to turn your content on social media into an actual online business, you're going to need systems. So for a limited time, I'm hooking up my viewers with a free Instagram DM and comment automation tool so you don't have to pay for expensive apps like ManyChat. You'll never miss another comment or DM on Instagram, and I'll personally show you how I use it to get leads while I sleep and sell digital products on autopilot. If that sounds like something you need, the link is also down in the description. Sign up and let me know what you think. Now, if you're interested in taking your AI generated content to the next level and making sure your hooks, scripts, and copy sound authentic and human, watch the video showing up on the screen, and I'll catch you all in the next one.